Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today?
Good.
How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's
have
time
arrived.
to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's
have
time
arrived.
to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. Good morning, Earthlings. Welcome to First Contact Radio. How you doing today? Hope you're having a good day so far. And I hope it continues to be good if it is. And if not, I hope it turns good if it's not going good so far. Today is the 3rd of July, 2014. Sun sign in Cancer, which is an emotional sign, a sign of feelings. A water sign. We have a moon sign, which is like it was yesterday, an earth sign in Virgo. It's going to be here for the rest of today, and it's going to make that transition at 4:43 in the morning. So we've got the whole rest of this day and into the night dealing with Virgo energy, Earth, the Hermit, shining the light, analyzing. Those are all the things that deal with Virgo. We have, let's see here. We have coming up a square later today. We had a Saturn went into a sextile with Virgo, so nice opportunity and disciplinary change that takes place there. Or, Saturn, discipline, planet of discipline, in Virgo, the practicality of shining the light. So when we think about that, and we say, okay, the Hermit wants to shine the light bright, and Saturn wants us to discipline the way in which we do things. So perhaps that's in finding a better way to shine the light bright, questioning, analyzing the things that are going on so that we can be more effective. At 4 o'clock in the morning here Pacific time, we had an opposition between Virgo and Chiron, the wounded healer. So we have a nice balancing out of those energies of the two of them, seeing how maybe we could take a lesson from the things that happened to us from our healing, so that we could apply that into how we shine the light brighter. That's part of the process of shining the light, letting others see where you've been, so they don't necessarily have to go that way, or if they do, they know what to do. Tonight we have a square, a lesson going on between Mercury, communication, and Virgo, practicality. Earth, so Earth and air are going to come together later in a big lesson. And just kind of think of the ideas of what that would about. We got the Virgo, which analyzes. It's Earth. It's the Hermit, shining the light. And all of that comes up against a square, a block, with Mercury, which is all about communication. So how we communicate the light, how we communicate all of these different things that Virgo is about, how we communicate and express what we are analyzing. So there's a lot of challenges that go with this, because we're learning how to understand more of what it is we're dealing with. What are the energies around us that we will find to make this world practical? Are we bringing everything into life that we want? Well, that's what Mercury will help us to decide. It's the mental aspect that helps us to understand what's going on with this physical aspect. And so we'll learn a great deal, a lesson about how we shine our light, and maybe ways to shine our light even brighter, way to be more effective in the way we do things. And then later tonight, prior to midnight, here we have Jupiter and Virgo are going to be in another sextile. And this time we have Jupiter's expansion. So we're expanding the way in which we look at things, expanding the way in which we communicate to the world, expanding the way in which we shine the light forward. Okay? And then we're going to make this change tomorrow into Libra, which is different, going from an air sign. So just remember the ideas of the hermit. The hermit holds the lantern high. The hermit is the one that went into a state of solitude to analyze a situation. Okay? The hermit went in to analyze a situation, to do some deep thinking, figured it out, and now comes forward holding the lantern high. So the Virgo, that being inside of us, that part of us that wants to help others, to teach others, to show others how to do things, to figure out what's going on with ourselves and with others, this is the aspect that is being dealt with today, that is being looked at. It's our moon sign, and we see the aspect with Mercury about communication, with Jupiter expansion, with Saturn, which is discipline. So it's all about the same idea. So if you just look at that idea of understand what Virgo is about, understand the hermit who represents Virgo, what that's about, it helps you to understand how all of these aspects are just helping that Virgo energy to be more effective. Okay? And then as we move from this into the next phase, into the air sign, things change because now we're going to communicate, be able to express that differently. Things aren't so solid in the physical world. Now things are up in the mental realm where we can do something with them a little differently. All right. Numerology for today is a number 8. Here's how we arrived at that. I'm pretty certain you should know by now what's going on. We got the 7, the 3, 2014. Add them together, we have a 17. 1 plus 7 equals 8. Therefore, today, in the process of numerology, using the process of theosophic subtraction, we've come up with 8, which is all about infinity, reciprocal energy, strength. The tarot card of number 8 is actually the card of strength, which is a card that I brought up here so we can look at. Well, now we've looked at this one again, but repetition is always important. So again, let's go over the card of strength. We're going to look at all the colors. We got yellow, which is the color of the intellect. Red is the energy, the passion, the fire. White is the purity. Green is the growth. Okay, so we look at all the colors around the card. So this card is a very profound esoteric significance. It is a representation of the great cosmic force which Madame Blavatsky called Fohat. This force is the human organism. It's called Kundalini. It's the serpent power. There are a number of systems which attempt to tell unwary students how to awaken the sleeping Kundalini. They are too often successful, and the results of their misguided efforts are human wrecks and derelicts, people driven to madness and obsession. For the fact that the Kundalini is a real force and is as powerful in destruction as it is in integration. Every person automatically receives the instruction he needs to awaken the Kundalini when the time comes for that awakening. In the meantime, listen to no one who tells you that he or she can help you unfold powers by setting the serpent force in action. Such practices are the most dangerous known to men. The proper way to prepare yourself for the time when you can do such a thing safely is to learn how to control your body, your mind, and your emotions. When you have done this, you will know what your next step is. Kundalini is not a force to be feared. You really use it every day in your life, but you use it naturally and without giving it conscious attention. For even in the latent state, it is the force behind your activities. It is automatically controlled by subconsciousness. Subconsciousness is the woman in Key 8, and she has the lion in complete control because tarot works by giving suggestions to subconsciousness. It works automatically towards the expansion of consciousness that makes for an ever greater control over continually increasing powers of personality. Okay. And the Hebrew letters Teth means serpent. One of the meanings of this card is righteousness or right useness. The right useness is the energy. Now, this Kundalini energy is very important. It's energy that resides at the bottom of our spine. It rises up through our body, through all of the chakras. It can cause a tremendous amount of illumination, and everybody has the Kundalini energy within them. You can't get rid of it. It's part of who you are. This energy comes up at a variety of different times in life. Sometimes it comes up naturally, and other times people do things that kind of challenge it to come up, and it does come up in ways that are not natural, in ways that aren't in a natural timing progression. And such cases can be quite intense for the individuals who experience that. And some people experience some really tremendous things they go through with the Kundalini. So you don't want to rush the process. Believe me, you don't want to rush having your Kundalini energy rushing through your body, because it's a force of energy that is pretty intense. So you want to allow it to happen naturally. Use the process of meditation, because through meditation you're aligning your chakras. You're getting used to dealing with your energy. And as you get used to dealing with the energy that you have, more and more gets released. And as more gets released, you get to adjust to how to use more and more. Your body will know the right amounts to release. Just don't go and start forcing situations, and people can do that all the time. Now, there's a difference between forcing a situation and being in a place where you feel it's time to take the next step. Only you can decide that, and so you need to find out the right useness of the energy for you by just checking in with your body. Ask your body the question. Your body will answer what's going on. Okay? Now, we can see here, this one is freaking out. There you go. Alright, just so we could see where we're at with our Tree of Life symbol here. Strength, numerology for today. The astrological sign Cancer, right here. The sun sign, and the moon sign, which is Virgo, which is right here. Okay. You can see all of the positions there. The current moon phase. We're making our way up to a full moon. We're 32% of the way there. Up in the sky tonight, we can see what's coming up on the 4th. Just ahead of us tonight, it says Vega is the brightest star, very high in the east these evenings. The brightest to its lower left is Deneb. Further to Vega's lower right is Altair. These make up the big summer triangle. If you have a dark sky, you can see the glowing band of the Milky Way that runs through it. Earth is at aphelion. It's furthest away from the sun for 2014, but it's only 3% further than at perihelion in January. Earth's orbit is nearly round and nearly centered on the sun. Okay. The Mayan Oracle, we're coming to the end of a wave spell. It's the wave spell of the eagle. So today we're right here at the 12th position. One more to go. So the eagle is all about vision. We've gone the whole path of this vision. Now we're at the World Bridger, the life and death aspect of it. Learning to realize that the vision doesn't live or die. It happens both simultaneously. We just go through phases, transitions of what our vision is, because the vision continues to progress as we complete and manifest aspects of our vision. We don't need to remanifest those. We need to just simply evaluate where we're at so we know what further things need to be manifest that are part of the vision as well. So it's a continual process. And of course, tomorrow's a jumping off day. We're not there yet today. We're all about collecting our thoughts and energies and figuring out what the next step is. So we have the World Bridger, guided by the mirror, which is reflection. The universe reflects to us who and what we're about. Today's the Crystal Tone, which is a cooperation. It's like a meeting. So the gathering of the tribes here for the meeting to discuss the ideas of life and death as they apply to our vision. And the mirror is going to guide us through today. The phrase for today is I dedicate in order to equalize, universalizing opportunity. I seal the store of death with the crystal tone of cooperation. I am guided by the power of endlessness. Over at Space Weather, the solar wind is 324.7 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is active right now in the 3 area. So we have some activity going on. Nothing much in the way of coronal holes that are affecting us. M-class flare possibilities at 50, X-class at 5. And geomagnetic storm activity seems like it's dropped a little bit down to 15, even 5% in the higher latitudes. So things are definitely settling down out there. And on the Jewish calendar, today is 5 Tammuz. And the thought for today is our greatest blessings were uttered not by Moses, not by David, not even by God himself. They were uttered by a wicked sorcerer hired to curse. The most brilliant diamonds hid in the deepest bowels of the earth, the most tensome blessing in the darkest caverns of life. Well, I don't know where these blessings are that they're referring to, but that is our daily thought for today. It says on the 5th of Tammuz of the year 3332 from creation, Ezekiel, the only one of the prophets to prophesy outside of the Holy Land, beheld the division of the divine chariot representing the spiritual infrastructure of creation. Okay, so that's what we have, Ezekiel's vision. Ezekiel saw the wheel way up in the middle of the sky. All right, there you have it. That gets us started for today. UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. First sighting takes us to Chile. Glowing UFO during last 2 hours in Chile, says the miners. Here we have a link to the official news article, location where it is. Impact has grown from the Director General of Civil Aviation of Chile of an image showing a UFO soaring in the sky. A detailed image shows the bright object was recorded by Minera Colahusa workers and was near 4,300 meters high. Those who have seen it said the sighting lasted for more than 2 hours, shining and moving more than 600 feet above the ground. So far, no one knows what it is. You can see it made the news, and there is our object in question. So the question is, well, what do you think that is? Well, we've certainly seen these plenty of times before. Not a surprise. Story's available, so you can check it out. It's 3 minutes, 31 seconds. Here we have multiple UFO lights above Margate, UK. This was on the 21st. I don't think we've seen this one yet. This is video footage of multiple lights recorded in the sky above Margate. I was fishing and saw these random lights appear and disappear over Reculver. So I grabbed my camera and recorded this. The autofocus on my camera kept messing up, which is annoying. There's also light wind on this day, and probably sky lanterns though. Well, you never can tell. It's a 2 minute 41 second video. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It looks like 11 of them out there. Could be more. Okay, and it's 2 minute 41 second video. You can just kind of zip through, see what's going on with them there. Some of them you could see blink on, blink off. Alright, so check those out, see what you think. Dutch Aero-Astronautic scientist encourages UFO discussion. Today, or yesterday, was World UFO Day. Today, World UFO Day, scientists press that any eventual alien contact would be out of peace and interest, not out of a desire for destruction of Earthlings and our planet. Corrine Vermeerijn, a scientist and aeronautics expert in TU Delft, tells NOS Radio 1 that he believes that UFOs exist, what makes him one of the few in his field who do not call it nonsense. Vermeerijn states his conviction on a report that says was published in America, which states that UFOs and extraterrestrials are not interesting to study for scientists. Still, there are many stories in that report from people who have seen things that are interesting and believable. But you will only notice that if you sink yourself into the subject. Most scientists don't want that and still give their opinions. Vermeerijn says that Hollywood is largely to blame for the feeling that aliens are something to be scared of. People who tell their stories in UFO sightings report are not people who have lost their minds. These people are professionals, pilots, air traffic controllers, astronauts, people whose jobs involve looking into space. They've often seen unidentified objects. These are the vessels that we do not know on Earth, but they often appear on the radar. Marine encourages the concept of World UFO Day. Says that's the only way to escape from the taboo around the little green men. All right, so there you have it. Yesterday, UFO Day. All right, story here. Did man get a genetic boost by extraterrestrials? Well, we know that this is what occurred. Could our genes have been intelligently designed, manufacture a stamp inside them, written eons ago elsewhere in our galaxy? Such a designer label would be an indelible stamp of a master extraterrestrial civilization that preceded us by many millions or billions of years. As their ultimate legacy, they represent the Milky Way in their own biological image. Well, here we have a 23-minute, 32-second video on this subject. That's for you to watch. Here we go. Indian finance minister condemned for speaking out in UFOs. For the millions of people that have actually seen a UFO, this story does not hold out much hope that we will ever get to the bottom of the phenomenon. Most people still have an attitude that if it does not affect me, then it is not worth my time. I guess in India, if politicians have any outside interest other than their jobs, it is condemned. Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan, a host of other presidents shared a keen interest in the UFO and actually made more interesting people. It says with the Indians worrying about the threat of tough measures in the new government's first budget next week. Facebook's post suggesting the finance minister might be pondering less earthly matters quickly aroused anger on Wednesday. Arun Jaitley, a key confidant of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, published a message celebrating World UFO Day on his Facebook page, which is one of the main forums in which he publishes official information. This day is celebrated to raise awareness about the existence of UFOs, excuse me, and with that, intelligent beings from outer space, said the post. Which was followed by Jaitley's name and included a depiction of a flying saucer in the wheat field. World UFO Day is dedicated to spotting and proving the existence of unidentified flying objects. First celebrated in 2000. A member of Jaitley's personnel staff who declined to be named confirmed that their team had posted the message about World UFO Day and said the account had not been hacked. The post was deleted half an hour later after Reuters contacted the team. The post sparked a storm of criticism among his followers and was deleted after a few hours. Okay. So if you want to wonder who is and who isn't for us, you can just read between the lines. Look who was the one that made the report. Reuters. Reuters, a newswire, the news service who's supposed to be providing news for the country, for the world. This newswire goes out there and they contact. Obviously, they were on a mission of censorship to make sure that it was known that, oh, what is your guy over there from doing talking about UFOs? It's silly. It's absolutely silly that in this day and age that people are still condemned for talking about UFOs. But then again, we're talking about a planet where we have a lot of individuals who are not paying attention to life at all. They're paying attention to their smartphones. You can see them walking down the streets each and every day. They're paying attention to what's really going on in life around them. We both know that there's a lot of folks out there aren't paying attention at all. Okay, here's a sighting, a UFO crash in Kecksburg. This happened years and years ago, but it is still being looked into. It said many people are saying that the government is not telling the truth about its involvement in the retrieval of a crashed UFO in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, 1965. People who live in Kecksburg wonder what was it that caused the military, police, and local firefighters to respond so quickly to this rural community. Following the events of December 9, 1965, with UFO investigator Stan Gordon, as 21 witnesses describe what they saw, the news media's involvement, and the military's mysterious removal of the UFO of an unknown Air Force base, where all traces of this event disappeared in secrecy. Well, here we have a 1 hour and 33-minute, 51-second piece about the Kecksburg story, so check it out. I'll leave that for you. And the very last one is a compilation video. It's a compilation video that is 10 minutes, 52 seconds in length. And this video itself is a compilation of sightings that have taken place over the first half of this year. Sightings down here, things that happen up on Mars. Okay. And if you go through, you can just zip through and find out all kind of interesting sightings. Kind of remind yourself of what happened over the course of this year. My guess is we've seen a good number of these because we have. Okay, so there you have it. That's our UFO news. Check out all the links. You'll be able to go through, watch all the videos, see what you think on those matters. It's very fascinating, though. Very fascinating that we still live in a time where there is so much division amongst what people know and what people don't know. You know, it's funny because sometimes we get in. It's like we live in a bubble, and we think it's 2014, and we forget about life that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And I know the powers that be count on the fact that people aren't going to remember what happened in the past, because truly, if we really remembered the history of our planet, if we really truly understood it, I think most Americans and people around the world would be outraged by what has happened in our history and would actually be taking steps to avoid those mistakes in the future. But we have an agency, a government agency, a world government agency at that, that is pushing the buttons and telling people how to think. And believe it or not, we still live in a day and age where people still allow themselves to be told how to think. It's crazy. Crazy. But that's the world we live in. So if you're amongst those who are paying attention, then just count your blessings that you are paying attention. Not everybody is out there. And chances are not everybody is going to. I mean, when we hear the stories about the times and the separating of the wheat from the chaff, well, if everybody is all the wheat, then there's nothing to separate. Obviously, we're not in a situation where we all are the wheat. There's a lot of chaff that needs to be separated. So there's a lot of division, in other words, between the people of thought of what's going on. A lot of people who are willing to give up all of their rights and allow somebody else to rule over them. But these will be the same people who will tell you, oh no, don't listen to astrology because you don't want to follow something that rules over you. So people will give their lives up to other humans and other individuals without any consideration of how they might be treated. But when it comes to learning about a science that might actually help you, oh, we have a very backward society in many ways. It's awesome to see people that are evolving and people that are really taking the steps. I see them every single day. So do you. But every single day, we also see those who seem to be devolving and those who are just kind of stuck. And, you know, it becomes amusing after a while just to see how people behave, and that really is the only way that I can look at it these days, to be amused, because otherwise it just doesn't make any sense. I'd find myself getting upset too much if I didn't find a way to find the humor in the situations that's out there. All right. Let me move on here. Jump away for a moment, and I'll be back. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
I'm back. Y'all like cayenne pepper out there? I like cayenne pepper. I like I like to make tea with cayenne pepper and cinnamon. Sometimes I'll throw some ginger in it, fresh ginger, in the morning. Whoo! Wakes you up. Wakes you up indeed. All right, let's continue on. So, Cancer, not the astrological sign, but what we know of as the disease cancer is something that unfortunately is prevalent in the society these days. But what is cancer, and is it something that we have to go to a doctor and get cut open or get radiated in order to get rid of this? Or is there a natural way to deal with this? Well, there are lots of natural ways. They don't get the most press because the natural ways mean that the pharmaceutical companies aren't going to be making the money that they're going to be making off of your disease. If you look at Cancer, and if you look at the astrological sign of Cancer, Cancer is a sign dealing with feelings, with emotions. And so I contend that the disease, and if you take the word dis-ease, it's something that is not at ease. Dis-ease. You've got a situation that's not at ease. Well, what's not at ease? Well, Cancer is a feeling sign. So, therefore, what is not at ease is the feelings, the emotions. They're eating themselves. The body is literally going in and feeding off of itself. So if we could find a way to go in and calm that down so the body stops eating itself, so the emotions stop going crazy, we might be onto something there. Now, I'm sure there's more to it than that, but that seems to be the gist of what people are saying that are finding healing remedies out there. I'm going to play this video for you here. It's a story of someone who did go through some healing. It says, man who beat cancer refuses to support cancer charities. Chris Wark refused chemo and beat stage 3 cancer naturally. He explains why he doesn't race for the cure or support most cancer charities. Chris Wark was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer in 2003. He was 26 years old. He was way too young to be facing this devastating and potentially fatal disease. Although Chris's doctors has a plan of attack, so did Chris. He chose to have surgery and remove the tumor, then refused chemotherapy as a treatment. Chris was thinking of the future he wanted to have with his children and didn't want anything to interfere with his ability to have a family. Chris told his doctors no chemo. Then he went on to clear the remaining cancer in his body by strengthening his immune system with delicious, healthy, raw plant foods and natural therapies. Chris is still only 35 and already has done something that some of us never thought possible. Chris has put cancer behind him. Okay, so I want to play this for you so you can hear what he has to say about why he doesn't get involved with these charities and so on. Okay? Feel that since he's actually been through this experience, he's got the right to speak his mind on this regard. Here we go.
Hey, it's Chris from ChrisBeatCancer.com. Wanted to tell you why I will not be racing for the cure. We're coming up on September, which is the big Susan G. Komen, pink ribbons, race for the cure, propaganda, media bonanza. And before that happens, I'd like to get this video out there and just give you some food for thought. No pun intended. I don't really support cancer charities. And this is why. First of all, people who support cancer charities are great people. If you have given money or raced for the cure or bought a pink product, you did it because you care and you want to help. And that's wonderful. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is where the money goes when you give to a cancer charity. Most cancer charities, a lot of them have been set up by pharmaceutical companies. And so what they do is they funnel money to the pharmaceutical industry. And you notice they all say the same thing. Oh, the cure is right around the corner. We're one step closer to the cure with your help. Well, the reality is they're not one step closer. They're not any closer to the cure now than they were 50 years ago, really. I mean, the survival rates, the 5-year survival for cancer is virtually unchanged for almost all cancers in the last 50 years. Childhood leukemia has improved, and lymphomas have improved in testicular cancer. But just those three, all the other cancers, breast, colon, brain, liver, lung, all those cancers, pancreas, the survival rates haven't improved. So anyway, back to the cancer charities. So what happens is a lot of these charities, especially Komen, a massive amount of their budget goes to administration and salaries, marketing and promotion, and a very small percentage actually goes to cancer research. Okay, so you could go to Komen Watch, Google the website Komen Watch, and you can get all the statistics about Komen specifically, and they're not great. You'll probably be very unimpressed with what they do with the money they raise. And even the money that goes to cancer research, even that small percentage, I think for Komen it's like 18%. I may be wrong. Just check with Komen Watch on that. But whatever it is, the money that they're sending to cancer research is going straight to the pharmaceutical companies. And what are they doing with it? They are trying to research and patent a drug to sell back to you. So what you're doing is you are charitably giving your money to a company that is using that to fund research on a product they're going to patent and sell back to you. It'd be different if they were going to develop research to treat people for free. Now, St. Jude is a great example of a cancer charity that, although I don't really agree with their method, with the chemotherapy method, the fact is they're treating patients for free, and that is amazing. That's a charity that's worth giving to. But any other cancer charity that's just funding pharmaceutical research, all you're doing is giving a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar prescription drug company free research money. They don't need your research money. It's a scam. It's a joke. They're laughing at you because they're laughing at basically, you fool, you're giving us money to research drugs we're going to patent and make billions on, you know? So anyway, that's what's really happening behind the scenes. So that's why I don't run for the cure. I don't buy pink products or yellow ribbon products or any of that kind of stuff. There are a couple good cancer charities. The American Anti-Cancer Institute is one that I support. Another really good charity is called Breast Cancer Action. They are definitely worth checking out. Look at their website. They're definitely worth supporting. And of course, you know, again, St. Jude is great because they treat people for free. I mean, you know, even though I'm not crazy about their methods, and it's not a method I would want for my child, they're doing it for free. So that's amazing. So anyway, just something to think about when this big push and this big promotion for all the pink Susan G. Komen stuff is coming around. And really, it's gotten ridiculous. Did you see last year the Susan G. Komen pink Kentucky Fried Chicken buckets? If you didn't see it, I promise you, Google it. It's real. They had pink Kentucky Fried Chicken buckets. If anything spells cancer or the fight against cancer like fried chicken, I mean, I don't know what does. So I drove by a pink garbage can, literally. Pink garbage can with the ribbon on it. I think things are just getting a little bit out of hand. Are we going too far with the pink products when they're on everything? They're on makeup that's got toxic ingredients. So you're going to buy toxic makeup to help support cancer research. I don't know. I could go on and on. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you want to subscribe to my channel, do it. You can also find out a lot more information about me and what I did to beat cancer using nutrition and natural therapies at my website, chrisbeatcancer.com. Peace.
All right, so there you go. He beat cancer. He has the right to say what people should and shouldn't be doing out there because he himself has been through it. All right. What I want to bring to you today is introduce you to another book. You may already be familiar with this. It is called The Pleaidian Agenda, A New Cosmology for the Age of Light by Barbara Hand Clow. Okay, I want to read a little bit of this to you. So we're going to scroll down here past the acknowledgments, past the forward. Okay, let's get into this one here. Let's see, this is the preface. Now let's go to the beginning. Okay. All right, let's do the preface. Let's do this. The book you have in your hands will be more comprehensible if you have an understanding of how the Pleiadians have been communicating with humans. Many indigenous people of the Earth have claimed Pleiadian origins, and then in the 70s, Billy Meyer of Switzerland reported direct contact with Pleiadian ships and individuals. In the 1980s, Ken Carey published the Starseed Transmissions, a remarkably clear and inspiring breakthrough of Pleiadian intelligence. Lisa Royale and myself were experiencing direct transmissions. Barbara Marcini accidentally opened a very potent channel of Pleiadian thought in 1988, and many other channels were reporting similar veins of teaching coming from this star system. The Pleaidian agenda comes primarily through Satya of Alcyone, a very forceful Pleiadian wisdom figure who is closely identified with the goddess. When the Pleiadians first began to impulse me as an adult in 1994, heard their transmissions for months in Morse code. Gradually, their voices clarified, but the next thing I experienced was the great deal of confusion about the way they discuss Earth sciences, Earth behavior, and spiritual evolution. To put it simply, what they were saying about us was like trying to decode light going through a kaleidoscope. Their view of us is multifaceted and geometrically interrelated, and it can be difficult to translate. In the late 80s, their complex point of view seemed jumbled and confused to me, but I kept on transmitting their perspective because what they had to say was more fascinating than anything I was hearing on Earth. I have to admit this was not an easy time for me. It was very psychologically complex because the more I got to know the Pleiadians, the more I realized that their voice was actually my own inner child voice. His wisdom teaching coming in stronger and more clearly were forcing me to remember my true and non-imprinted natal self. As I saw that, I began to remember myself all the way back to when I was 4 months old, when a whirlwind swished the curtain next to my crib and this small, beautiful being came to visit me. As hard as it was, I knew I was finally totally integrating this presence, and then Satya began speaking to me in 1992. As a result of her appearance, I wrote the Pleaidian agenda in anticipation of a reality splitting that the Pleiadians say is coming in 1998. Satya has a very clear voice, and as you will see, and so it is time for Satya to speak with you. I am Satya, director of a large group of Pleiadians and keeper of the records of Alcyone, the Central Pleiadian Library, and by developing a direct conduit through herself to you, Barbara Clow has improved her own communication skills. Therefore, the book offers a wide range of Pleiadian entities and groups who all have big agenda about getting certain information to you, the Pleaidian agenda. The Pleiadians are very anxious to reach you, and so they pack themselves into your thoughts and they rush through your portals. John Kaminsky attended the channeling sessions when the Pleaidian agenda was coming in 1994-95, and he commented, the Pleiadians are kind of like bees. You have seen them around some auction that eventually they built something you hadn't noticed them building. Now the beehive would like to address you as a group. Actually, we Pleiadians have built quite a nest, and when we inhabit our vehicle's body, she feels a special kind of excitement that is just like a buzzing hive of bees. She has learned to recognize the frequency and use it as a tool, and if you want to know how she did it, read her trilogy, The Mind Chronicles. She has discovered through such experience that her own perceptual range has been greatly increased by working with us, and now she can see the nature of the coming reality split. To choose to participate in the newly evolved work, you will need to understand and consciously work with the 9-dimensional vertical axis described in this book. During her own personal training phase, she became dedicated to opening our records for you. She discovered that our wisdom improves your lives, answers your deep questions, intensifies your feelings, sharpens your minds, and leads you to selecting evolution instead of de-evolution. The Pleaidian agenda is finally complete, and we would like to offer you our Pleaidian reflections as a group of what Barbara Ann Clow has managed to glean from us. You may wonder, what is cosmology? According to Earth astronomers, a cosmology studies the nature of the origin, structure, and space-time relationships of the universe. Well, we Pleiadians will go much further. To us, a cosmology is a story of existence and time that awakens your cellular memory. What is cellular memory? Well, cellular memory is the memory of all of us that has ever occurred in the universe that is encoded right in your cells in your body. You already know about this new cosmology for the age of light, and all you need to know is to hear the story told again. Why would you want to remember the story again? Of course, it might be creative and fun, and it is, but the real reason for telling the story now is so that you can make a choice about which reality you inhabit when your world splits into two paths in 1998. You can see the movies of these two worlds playing in the cells of your bodies. Since we believe that each one of them deserves total choice, we have come into reality to describe these two paths to you. People, you would be amazed if you knew how difficult it is for you to come so far, to spend so much time with you. After all, we have loving homes and white marble in the land of greenery and exquisite clear water and air. Our children are beautiful and love us, and our animals enjoy our presence. We have come all this distance in time because if you do not have a choice, then you have no free will, and then the essential basis of the universe, freedom of consciousness, ends. If that ended, no one would choose existence anymore, and all motion would cease. Of course, you cannot imagine that, but we have contemplated exactly that apocalypse and played it out, and it is unacceptable, probable reality, which you could walk into if you remain asleep. Some easier to just roust you out of bed. We can assure you of one thing: the nest we've made is big enough, and we all buzz loudly enough so every one of you will be able to make a clear choice as we peer into the two worlds that will be Earth. Changing during the age of Aquarius will be easy to describe and discuss the qualities of each one. Okay, we've got a lot more here of this preface. I'm going to leave it for you so you can continue on. But again, this isn't the first time you've heard a story about splitting of the worlds, and this one came out some time ago. So whether or not the timing and of all of these things are happening and was right doesn't really matter. All that matters is you have a number of beings from other worlds, from here on this planet, all intuitively knowing that there's a split, a change taking place. 1997 or 87 was when the harmonic convergence happened. There seemed to be a splitting and a change taking place then. As we move closer and closer to the year 2000, and then in 2012, more splitting occurred. We're in the midst of this. We can see the divisions taking place. We just need to keep on with our believing and understanding of what is taking place in the world, and just keep on trusting the intuitive guidance that we all have. Okay? Alright, so let me move on from here to this next article here. This is an article from In5D. Perhaps. Seem to be having some challenges here. There we go. Okay. This article, well, it disappeared. Alright, let me jump away for a moment here.
Great Spirit, shine down your light, shine down your light, shine down your light to light our way. Great Spirit, shine down your light, shine down your light.
Alright, here we go. Problem solved. Let us continue on. Alright, this article is called "The Truth Most People Do Not Want to Hear." I find it interesting how Facebook dropped the total number of likes on our most recent article, "The Truth Most People Do Not Want to Hear." When I went to bed, there were around 280 likes. When Michelle Walling woke up this morning, there were almost 600 likes. When I woke up, there were 70 likes. It seems Facebook doesn't want this article circulating. Now, the article is based on everything Robert Morning Sky stated in his book and video. It makes me wonder if Robert is a little too close to the truth, because why else would Facebook significantly drop the number of likes? Normally, I really don't care about the total number of likes because I know each article will reach exactly who it's supposed to reach. I could tell you how many times I posted an article and the following day someone would thank me because it was on the subject that they were researching heavily but couldn't get on the right answers. This time the numbers stood out as clear as day without chemtrails. On articles like this, I just am a conduit sharing information while allowing others to discern for themselves. But the number of likes being messed with in conjunction with the recent article about how Facebook is experimenting with people's emotions, it seems as though this article definitely hit a nerve with them and is most likely the truth. According to Robert Morning Sky, just about everything you have been taught is a lie, including your true galactic lineage, religion, and following the light upon death. Robert's Hopi and Apache lineage ties together the missing pieces of what our indoctrination facilities, otherwise known as schools and churches, do not tell us and do not want us to know. In general, Morning Sky's genetic lineage follows Zechariah Sitchin's story, but not completely. This is indeed a slave planet where we have been genetically modified to become subservient slaves to our masters. And while most of the controlling extraterrestrials on this planet are malevolent, we have received help from benevolent Pleiadians who are trying to help EA undo what the reptilians, Syrians, and benevolent Anunnaki have set up this planet for. This is part of the untold story from a New Mexico UFO crash around the Four Corners area of the United States in August 1947. Apparently 6 Apache Indians on a vision quest, including Morning Sky's grandfather, rescued the lone surviving Pleaidian called a Star Elder. This particular Pleaidian used crystals to project images to communicate the story of our solar system and mankind itself. According to Morning Sky, the light at the end of the tunnel leads to the soul regeneration center, where your soul becomes trapped in a reincarnation cycle on this planet in order to continue serving these entities who are in charge of Mother Earth. This was put in place by the reptilians, who were given free reign of the planet in order to get people to go into the tunnel of light. To those who are religious, the story may rock your boat. According to Morning Sky, the Syrians are responsible for all religions in order to control man. The Anunnaki, Enlil, appointed himself as god of this planet despite his brother Ea and sister being responsible for the genetic creation of mankind. Enlil is the same God that is in the Old Testament of the Bible. If you appease Enlil or follow God's commandments, you will be rewarded and your place in heaven. The problem is your vision of heaven is the same soul regression cycle as spoken above. You will continue reincarnating as a slave, and as you have done many times before, and your memory will be erased from all previous lifetimes. All right. And etymology of words also plays an important role in today's society. For example, Zu equals master servant, Su is master, Isu teachers. Okay. So we go all through here, and I'm going to get to the end of the article. It's a long article. It's a good article. I want you to read the article here. And I want to get to the last bit here. It says the current administrations of the empire government on the planet have a lineage back to the Orion hybrid reptilians, while the money was given to Ra's children, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. As you can see, the name of the Rockefeller, Ra-Ka, pharaohs, and Rothschilds, Ra-Ka-M, are part of the war on consciousness. Morning Sky adds, there is a war, and we are the prize. Some questions that Morning Sky would like to ask yourself include, if we are being controlled by benevolent beings, why aren't they here, and why are they covering up the truth, and why does the government not officially admit to the existence of UFOs? There's a lot more that you should really listen to and discern for yourself, such as the Divine Feminine, Isis, Ashtar Command, Ra, aka Marduk, Freemason, Shadow Government, much, much more. Okay, so good article. Lots of things in here that are important to understand. Again, I truly believe that if we understood the history of our planet, if we understood the history of what was going on prior to this lifetime, we would make some drastic changes. And you read through that article, and he's absolutely right. You know, we go through these events in life and these experiences, and we don't fully understand really what we're doing because we're following along with the way somebody else told us how to think. Rather than learning how to think for ourselves, we're told what to think. You know, and then you got the whole Facebook thing. It's nutty. You know, I've been doing this show for 4.5 years. I have a number of places where I put the show out on a daily basis. I have watched numbers for this show go up, and I've watched them go backwards. I've watched subscribers go up, and I've watched them go backwards. There's no rhyme or reason to it, other than the fact that there is monitoring that takes place out there, and that's pretty much it. And anybody who is doing an alternative news type program has experienced exactly the same thing. So for me, I don't really worry too much about who shows up on a daily basis, because I trust that whoever is supposed to show up will show up. And my job is also to show up each and every day, 5 days a week, to present this information. And I present the information whether there's one person out there or whether there's a million people out there. Even if there's no person, I'm still here, and I'm still going to be doing the information, because that's my job. And when we all do our jobs, when we all show up as we're supposed to and present the information we're supposed to, that's all that matters. And the organizations that could try to cover us up and deceive us, they don't have that power to do so, because we understand. Remember, we're living in a time where deceit and treachery and wars and all this stuff are par for the course. It's part of the script. If we look at the script of the end times, and we can go through and say, oh yeah, these things are going to happen. There's going to be rumors. There's going to be rumors of war. There's going to be government leaders who are really hurting the people. You can go on through the playbook and find out that everything that's going on is going on. And once you're aware of the script, then you know how to avoid what is going on, and everything is better. All right, there you have it. I'm going to move on to this next piece. This is a channeled message for today from Archangel Metetron. Here we go.
Archangel Metetron, acknowledging your dark side.
Channeled through Natalie Glasson, June 26, 2014.
It is with great unconditional love that I present my consciousness and energy to you now, surrounding and embracing you completely in the divine vibrations of the Creator. Something marvelous is occurring upon the earth at this time, and more importantly within the souls and energies of humanity. People are being encouraged to acknowledge their dark side, to give the darkness of any form that they may hold onto, space within their beings to be heard and to be observed. As the darkness arises, it can create chaos as it influences and tries to control thoughts, perspectives, opinions, and even actions. The darkness seems to turn your divine and acknowledged alignment to the Creator upside down, manifesting feelings of fear, stress, loss, anger, and confusion. The truth is that you are now in a space of power as you exist in the space of love within you, and so you as well as humanity are ready to deal with and face the darkness so it may surface and be released eternally. In fact, your dark side simply wishes to be acknowledged after being ignored and striving to influence or control you to gain your attention. It simply wishes to be in your presence as you give it your consideration. Your dark side is an aspect of yourself that rejects love, is fearful of love, and doesn't want to be loved by you, others, or the Creator. It is the part of your being that fears the love of the Creator. This fear can manifest for numerous reasons, but it stems from the pain of the separation of the soul from the Creator. Separation and the experience of existing without the Creator consciousness and recognition that is your truth becomes familiar, even though it is but a moment in your soul's journey upon the earth. The grip you have upon your physical reality and personality could be recognized as your dark side, because it is holding you back in recognizing your unity and oneness with the Creator. While your dark side is fearful of being loved due to a fear of change and the constant flow of the Creator, your dark side is a part of your being that wishes so deeply to be loved completely, absolutely, and eternally. The part of you that so desperately wishes to be loved and accepted could be recognized as your dark side, because your need to be loved and accepted hinders your realization that you are already that which you seek. Your dark side and the dark sides of humanity, negativity, pain, and harmful energies have always been feared in the past, allowing such energies, whether small or large, to hinder the growth of the light, soul, and love within your being. As we enter and exist in the era of love, you are able to recognize that you are supported by love, you exist as love, and you believe in love. Therefore you can face any form of darkness without fear, but with a heart overflowing with love, which empowers your entire being, giving you heightened strength and loving power. Now you can give space to your dark side or aspect, observing without attachment, reaction, or anxiety. This is a very powerful space for you and humanity to be in, as it means that true healing can now take place at a conscious level, allowing all aspects of your being to be purified to further recognize the Creator within your being. Many of you will have numerous explanations and descriptions of what your dark side is. It is your fears, your ego, your anger, your pain, your doubt, a past lifetime? It is important to acknowledge that your dark side, whatever you recognize it to be, is present with you for a reason. It is actually more sacred and special than the pure love of your being, because your dark side is a catalyst for deeper creator recognition. If you can work with your dark side free from attachment and reaction, then you will be shown a gateway into the deeper truth and love which is the creator within your being. Many of you who focus upon your light, love, and divine essence may not be willing to recognize that you have a dark side to your being. This is of course true, as the dark or negative aspects of your being are just an illusion, but they are also tools of spiritual evolution and growth. It is time to recognize that your dark side isn't bad or evil, but can simply be limitations that hinder your realization of the Creator. In truth, your dark side simply fears love and yet yearns love with desperation. This doesn't mean that it is negative or even dark, but is an aspect of yourself that requires attention, tenderness, gentleness, and of course unconditional love. Are you ready to accept the aspect or aspects of yourself that fear and yearn the love of the Creator simultaneously? The answer is that you are ready, and in fact all of humanity is ready, as these aspects of your being are being shown to you with such vividness. But now you have the tools, as if you have progressed to a level of consciousness and awareness, to realize that many illusions are present which simply require healing, a new perspective, and the abundant forgiving love of the heart. The real question is, are you ready to exist in a reality detached from the energies that arise within you, not allowing yourself to believe that negative emotions, feelings, or thoughts belong to you, even if you have created, projected, and held on to them? This time upon the earth is such a powerful time of healing, because it is as if you are all graduating to new levels of spiritual evolution. Facing your fears and what could be labeled your dark side will only create greater freedom, happiness, and bliss within your reality and being. At this time, the key areas to focus upon are, to heal your fear of love and to heal your yearning to be loved by the Creator. Both are healed through the acceptance of your own unconditional love projected to yourself gently and peacefully, to instigate and inspire the necessary vibrations and beliefs to fall away. Thus you unlock the love within your being and experience it more fully. Both the fear of the Creator's love and the yearning for the Creator's love are actually an aspect of yourself not wishing to feel, sense, and acknowledge yourself as a complete being of love. Your spiritual evolution and ascension is a journey of you allowing yourself to experience the completeness of your love. Each small step reveals the eternal presence and support of your love to you for deeper understanding and recognition. Here is an invocation that I feel supports you in experiencing that which I am sharing.
I now completely and absolutely love myself, especially all aspects of myself that I recognize as my dark side. In my recognition of my complete love within my being, I dissolve all fears of love, being loved, and the influence of the Creator's love. I now allow myself to embrace the Creator's love. I dissolve all feelings of yearning for love of any form, as I know the complete love of the Creator exists within me, and is a fountain from which I can draw to nurture and nourish my being forevermore.
You may also wish to affirm:
I completely accept my fear of and yearning for the Creator's love. I am the complete love of the Creator. This is my truth. As many people face their dark sides, maybe even multiple times, they will find themselves experience a heightened vibration, light, experience of freedom, and a deeper sense of the Creator's love.
It is a process that is required to occur within your being in order to fully manifest and project the era of love from your being. Let all fears subside. You rest in the love of the Creator. Allow this understanding to bring deep, profound peace. With unconditional love, Archangel Metetron.
Alright. So, I know that we talk about the light and the dark all the time. Light and dark, they're two aspects of the same thing. Just two ends of the pole. If we think about the Kybalion and the law of polarity, two poles, same thing, light and dark. We just move from one to the other. When you get to the extreme of the darkness, you've got a lot of fears, negativities, doubts, and those things that accumulate there. Whereas the other side of it, when you go to the light, you have an absence of all of those things. We go back and forth on these polarities all the time. The light and the dark are necessary. If you think about drawing, you have, when you draw, you start off with a line drawing to give your outline. That outline, if we think of when we use like a black pencil, is providing the form It defines what that image is going to be. And so we need to have those defining elements. So we need to embrace. That is why we need to embrace the elements within ourselves of the darkness, because we challenge them to overcome them. I think a lot of these reality shows that are out there really kind of show this, where we are seeing examples of people overcoming their fears, facing their fears, and there's a lot of that going on, which is great. We get too consumed with all of that. We want to get absorbed into these ideas of the fears and the darkness more than we need to, but we need to at least accept and understand, because when we do, we can allow these things to come forward, we can heal them, and then we can make this world the way we want. Otherwise, we just keep running back and forth. And because that the powers that be know how people love the darkness, they just continue to propagate that idea. They continue to propagate the fears and putting it out there, and people just easily are succumbed to the ideas of what the darkness is about, rather than really learning the truth about what could come from it if you really learn the strength within it. All right, that brings us to our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath and exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. Another deep breath and exhale. And as you breathe in and out, imagine breathing in love and letting out fear. And as you release that fear into the world, it goes into the universe, and the universe transmits it back to love. And so you breathe in and out, and you have this exchange of energy. And as your body exchanges this energy with the universe, you find out that all of this universe provides energy to us that is both light and dark. And that as we learn to understand what this energy is about, we also learn what this energy isn't. And we find that down here on Earth, 3D Earth, our understanding of this darkness isn't fully the understanding of what darkness really is about. And so we find a way to let go of this darkness, to thank it for what it provided to our lives, and let go of it, knowing that it is always around. It is part of the nature of the universe. But our objective is to play with the light, not with the dark. Because as we play with the light, we can help shape and create the world around us. By using both the light and the dark together in the way that they're supposed to be, we find there to be a great understanding of how energies in life come together in this beautiful dance, this harmonic dance. So imagine yourself looking into yourself, and you see the darkness that exists there. And it exists alongside the light. And when you look at the darkness, you find that there are questions and answers that need to be dealt with. And as you address the questions and address the issues that come up, you find that you learn more and you grow stronger and wiser. And you find that there is truly a purpose to what this darkness is about. And so when you realize the purpose and the nature, we learn to be able to learn from the darkness within us, because it has been there, it has helped us, and it will always be around us. So we look at ourselves and we tell ourselves that we love ourselves. And just imagine sending love to yourself, to who you are, who you've been, who you will be. Forgive yourself for anything you may have done that has been other than good, other than loving and kind. Forgive others for doing things to you that may have been other than unloving, other than loving or kind. And just trust that as you continue to let go and forgive and love, that you make a great difference in the world by doing so. So just imagine sending love to yourself and love to others, and let that be enough as you go through the course of the day. Just sharing love silently with everyone you see. And then observe how that simple act of sending out love makes a difference. So let your subconscious mind continue on that journey and just imagine sending love to each and every individual you see. You don't have to say a word, just imagine it being sent over to them. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to this present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to this present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to this present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's our show for today. Thank you very much for being here. I'll be back tomorrow, Friday, with more news and information. Here, I forgot this today. This is affirmation for today. Loving myself feels more natural and effortless. Ties right into the whole theme of loving ourselves, so wanted to make sure you knew that that was there. So go into the world, send out love. No expectation, just send it out and observe what it does. Make that your experiment for today. That's it. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll have more news and information. Tomorrow we'll get into more information about Jesus. Until then, have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving yourselves and love everybody else. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.